There we go. Yay. Chat's disabled for the stream. Can't see chat. Hold on. Anyway, hi folks. I'm Wes Allen with DM Tales, and today I wanted to do a quick look in honor of their Kickstarter, which is soon to close, at Swords and Wizardry. Swords and Wizardry. I can't even say it. Swords and Wizardry, complete workbook or rulebook. It's going to be fun. Let's roll it. This is me doing a very fast live stream. I just set everything up. I have no idea what I'm going to say. It should be a lot of fun. And I can't do chat for some reason, so I can't see if anybody's actually watching. I am going to actually bring it up on YouTube and mute it. There we go. And that way I can see chat over here. Anyway, why am I interested in Swords and Wizardry? I cannot say that worth my life. And let me get my camera into its right space. You can see I am really going great. This is my overhead cam that you can see right here. So this is going to be a fun time. But this is a book that I got from one of my viewers. Thank you so much, always. You know who you are, from Connecticut, yay. And when I got it, I was not sure if I'd really be interested in reading it or not. And the reason why is because Swords and Wizardry, hey, I said it right that time, is actually essentially a retro clone of OD&D, or original D&D, as it would have been played around 1978. So I think Holmes Basic was out. Moldvay Cook Basic Expert was due out maybe the next year, which is where I actually started. So I had no nostalgia for this game, and I wasn't sure if I would be interested in doing it. I had seen a couple of OD&D clones that really hadn't captured my attention. I was so used to the BX model of ability bonuses and things like that I just it wasn't really taking with me. I read this book from cover to cover, and you can see, if you recognize the artist on this cover, it's Errol Otis, who did this one, who does actually some artwork for the Kickstarter as well. So that's another reason to back. But I read this and I was really taken with it right away. Let's just take a look, and I'm going to apologize. My overhead camera is a Mevo Plus, and I have it set up to wired webcam, so it's limited to 480 p, so the text is not going to be perfect, but it should give you at least an understanding of what it looks like. So let's go to the overhead view right now. You can see I have not really set things up. So here's the cover, which is absolutely stunning, and the interior is very nice. I mean, you wouldn't say this was a modern design. It has, in the tables, it's got heavy borders and alternating row colors. And sometimes the table size will change, or the row size will change. You wouldn't consider it modern design, but it's got some very nice artwork, and it has a good amount of character classes. And that's because, let me get back to me. That's because, it's running this again. I'm having fun. It has some really good character classes, or good amount of character classes, because it runs as though the first 3 booklets that got added to OD&D are already in play. So that's Greyhawk, Blackmore, and I think it was Eldridge Magic. So all those character classes are in there. So you have the Paladin, you have the Thief, which wasn't part of original OD&D, that sort of thing. So it's kind of fun, and I really do like it. I like the basic layout, even though it's not considered modern. Let's go back again over to the overhead camera. You have headings that have a nice thin line going across. That's kind of more modern design. It helps to separate one section from another. I love the font that they chose for the heading font. It's got a nice texture to it. It almost looks like it's been printed on the page by an actual physical press. That's the type of thing that I really enjoy. And the callouts are really nice. It's just a box with a shaded interior, like an interior shadow, which is really, really clean, and I appreciate it for what it is. What I want to take a look at, though, is this thing right here, and I hope you can read it, even though the resolution is so low. So that's saving throw. So Swords and Wizardry, I cannot say that word out loud right now for the life of me. I don't know why. But Swords and Wizardry eventually I'm going to say it correctly again. One of its innovations to the game was that it added a single saving throw. So if you know old school Dungeons and Dragons, you had like death ray and save versus poison and dragon breath and spells and rod stabs and wands. And all like those are the different saving throw categories. And it could be a little bit abstract. Like sometimes when you were trying to save from being buried in rubble, you would save from paralysis, which is not entirely intuitive. That's one of the reasons why modern versions of the game moved to saving throws being attribute based. So when you're trying to get away from an avalanche, it's dexterity. But so what Swords and Wizardry did, said it right, look at that. They added a single saving throw number, and that would go up as you level up. So it starts at 15. By the time you get to level 21, that's impressive, it goes all the way down to 5. And actually that's by level 11 is really where you're almost maxed out with your character power. You get some added abilities after that, but it's, 11 is really kind of, we're now just going on top of being superheroes by that point. And so that's really nice. But also the way that it creates a differentiation between the different types of saving throws is if you are a dwarf or a halfling, I think you get a +4 to your saving throws versus magic, which is, so there's your plus for that. If you are a wizard character, you get I think a +2 save versus magic. So it's alternating your rows depending on what class you are, and you just add that depending on what type of save you're doing. And because this is OD&D and everything is rules light, I mean, this is the classic statement of rulings over rules. I'm trying to see if I get my chat up. Why is my chat disabled? Let's put the chat on. See if I can find it. I think when I created it, I decided I wasn't going to have chat. So let's see if I can turn it on quick. So anyway, it's rulings over rules, and what happens is that because there's no rule for the different types of saving throws, if you're the GM or the referee, you just say, well, you're going to have a -2 to here, a +1 to this throw, and you just add it at the time. And it's a more flexible way of playing. A lot of folks aren't used to that nowadays. I think they feel that because, and I've been told this by a couple players, they feel because it's not in the rules, they're constrained. Where the reality is because it's not in the rules, you get to make it up on the fly. And then as long as you're consistent in applying that type of ruling in similar situations, it's not going to, it's not restrictive because you're just coming up with stuff and it becomes part of your house rule, which is the way the game was originally meant to be played. Give me a second here while I am going to try to put this on, or put my chat on. If I can do that, let's see. Allow embedding, category gaming, comments. Oh, I can't do it while the stream is going. Sorry, guys. No chat while the stream is happening today. But thank you for folks who are watching. I see that you are there, and that makes me really happy. And so that's kind of the reason why I think the flexibility of OD&D is something that people might want to go back and take a look at again. And it's something that like games like Basic Fantasy, what else is out there for now? Basic Fantasy and Iron Falcon and all these games that just go back to that earlier era. White Box, that don't try to come up with a rule for every situation you can come up with. They trust you to do that at the table and then have that consistent all the way through, which I think is a valuable thing to have, and I appreciate that they do it. Another thing that they did for, let's get to combat. Those are missile weapons. See, I'm really doing this all on the fly, folks. This is fun. There's combat. So you have your attack tables. That's the wrong thing. There we go. Again, I'm sorry that this is a lower resolution camera. I really do apologize. But here you have the old attack table. So this is kind of like the matrix, the old attack matrix that you would have in OD&D for descending armor class. The lower armor class is the better. That's how I started in Mold Bay Basic, then AD&D and AD&D Second Edition. And it's not intuitive unless you grew up with it or have been playing for that forever. That's why they actually tried to do that in Second Edition. to go to ascending armor class, and they thought that was too big of a change at that point. And then when they got to 3, they finally said, yeah, we're doing this. It makes more sense. A lot of retro clones are using that nowadays, including Basic Fantasy RPG. Iron Falcon did not in its original, because Chris Gonerman wanted to make a retro clone. He was annoyed at somebody, which is a great story if you can ever find that. But now that he's put out Iron Falcon 75, he's added in the rules for Ascending Armor Class because he likes it better. Well, things like Old School Essentials also have both, and so does Swords and Wizardry. Hey, I said it right again. Can someone keep a count for me on how many times I say it right the first time? That would be helpful. It would be great if I could turn on my chat, but oh well. And so what they do is they actually give the equivalent of the target armor class for Ascending Armor Class, which is not that hard. It's AC 10 for unarmored. It's AC 9 if you're doing Descending Armor Class. The reason for that is because the lowest armor class, and I guess I should show you that, in Descending Armor Class, the lowest base armor class you can get is 0. So 0 to 9 is 10. That's how the digits work. So in Ascending Armor Class, it goes from 1 to 20, so unarmored is 10. I know that confuses people who aren't used to it, but it's basically base AC is 10. And then you have to figure out, well, what your attack bonus is going to be, and that's actually on the character advancement chart. Let's see right here. Somewhere out there. I forgot where it was. I am a liar. It's not showing up. But I know it's there somewhere. Where is it? I know there's a table for it. Somewhere. I should have done more research before I went live, but I only had so much time on my lunch break. So if somebody can figure that out, you can let me know. But there is a rule in there for your ascending AC. Your bonuses, and then look how simple your character sheet is. I do enjoy playing 5e. I have said that I don't enjoy running it. And the reason why I don't enjoy running 5e is because when your characters get beyond 3rd level, the only way to challenge them, it feels like I have to try to kill them. And I'm not the type of person who wants to go out of their way to kill a party. But running 5e or playing 5e is fine. It's a fun thing to be a superhero for a time. It's essentially where I put it down to. But the character sheet and building a character, the first time I was trying to do it in 5e after being away from the hobby for close to 30 years, which blows my mind, that was annoying. I just hated how much there was in, and they forced you through all these little pathways to get to the end of your character creation concept. And if I didn't have D&D Beyond at the time, I'd never subscribed. I just bought the book through it. I probably wouldn't even have tried. And in fact, my first character, I didn't try. Someone had to build it for me because it was right at the pandemic beginning, and my brain was not working correctly. I might have just given up at that point. This character sheet here, it's 1 page, and it's real simple. And I like that you're not focused on the character sheet so much when you're playing. It's more, what crazy thing can I do in order to get through this situation? Whether it be the classic is jumping off the chandelier or spiking a door shut, those types of things. Throwing food at an animal to try to run away. Those are the cool things that we're trying to do, because you're not looking at your sheet and seeing what ability I can inflict on this poor creature right now. It's more like, hey, I got to get out of here. Let's figure out what we can do. And I like that. That's one of the things that I like about rules-like games, is that it's a lot more flexible, and I get to just come up with stuff, and it has an impact on the situation. It's, and someone, we were talking in one of my Discord chats, and someone says, yeah, because we had a moment where someone tried to throw a block of cheese at someone, which was really funny, but it wouldn't have had a great impact on the situation, because everybody's got so many hit points, and a block of cheese is only going to do so much damage. And so why would you ever choose to throw the block of cheese? Whereas in the old game, you're like, yeah, I'm throwing that cheese at that person because they only have 10 hit points. And if I do 5, that takes them down halfway. Maybe they fall over and they hit their head on the table or something. So that's the type of thing that an old school game really kind of caters to, which I like. And so the simpler character sheet, that's really cool. I keep going to the wrong one. I should put those buttons not next to each other. You can see from the tables here. Let me try to get a little closer. There we go, because it is not a great resolution. But you only have a missile weaponry bonus of +1 for 13 to 18, and it's you don't have that Moldvay Cook +1, +2, +3 for the different ability scores. And then the other thing that in old Dungeons and Dragons or original Dungeons and Dragons, the pluses for your 2 hit and your damage modifier, those only applied to fighters, or they were called originally fighting men. It wasn't an inclusive situation back then. That wasn't on the radar for men. But so those bonuses only applied to the fighters. And in Swords and Wizardry, I kind of said it right that way that time. Keep track. You can actually say, well, let's apply. It actually gives you advice, like, yeah, if you want your character to have a bonus to hit or a bonus to do damage via strength, but they're not a fighter, give them a max of +1. So even your abilities are not giving you huge differentiation in what you can do in game. Your ability scores, they have a little bit of impact, but not a ton. And that's something that for some folks, it's going to be a real turnoff. I like the Moldvay Cook balance a little bit better. If you're interested in an OD&D clone that kind of uses Moldvay Cook scale, that would be Iron Falcon. But it has its own little appeal because you have to then act your character in a way that differentiates them. It's not just the sheet. That we're going to keep coming back to that. So that's kind of fun. This book has everything you need in it. All the way from creating a character, blank character sheet, monsters, treasure, rules for wilderness and dungeon adventures, and gives you a hint on designing adventures. Nothing is huge. It's only about, let's see what it is. It is 140 pages when you get down to it, which is kind of cool. And there's something about it, and I don't know if it's the single saving throw. I don't know if you have multiple options in the rules. It's kind of gives you hints of not only the official rules as the game progressed, but also, the types of house rules that people came up. There's options for each of those. And it just tells you left and right. You pick what works at your table. If people want to do that, you do that. If you want to do this, you do this. And that type of openness is something I really find appealing. Because rules as written were not complete at that point. Even when you had the 3 supplements to OD&D come out, there are still a lot of holes, which is why you had Holmes come out with the basic set to try to streamline people getting into the game, or Moldvay coming out with basic and then Cook with expert, and then going into Beckme beyond that. There's reasons for all of this. And so that's really kind of the cool thing. That I love that openness and the fact that it gives you visible permission to just go off on your own and make this game what you want of it. That's something that modern games kind of lack. Sometimes they tell you can do it, but there's so many rules to navigate in order to get there. Because they also tell you, well, when you drop this, then you're going to put more things in place. So just try to stick as close as you can as possible to what we wrote here. And I mean, that can be fun. And it can be. I mean, rules lawyers love it. But I mean, it can be fun even for normal people. But for folks who want a little bit more flexibility, going to old school rules lite is something that has got real appeal to me. And I thank you, folks. I have no idea how many people are watching, but I got 5 likes, so that really makes me happy. I wish I had chat turned on, and I apologize to you that I cannot turn it on. I got 6 people watching right now. Yay! So that's where we're going. So let me show you what we got going on here, and I'll finally bring up this. So this is the current Swords and Wizardry Complete Revised Rulebook. This is their Kickstarter. There are, as of this stream, 5 days to go. They have made their goal. So they're not desperate in need of getting to their goal. I think they're at about 109,000. Let's bring up the back of this project right now. Why are you trying to? No, I don't want a password. Darn nibbit. Let's do this. So much fun doing something live. I didn't have time to do a pre-recorded, produced video. So my apologies to you folks. I'm just having fun We're just going to go through this. Let's load you up in Firefox. See what we got. So 4 days to go. Oh, there we go. They're at the 114,000. So they've made, and it's $1,000 goal. They've definitely made it. But this is something that's really worth looking at. I really think they're going to improve the layout somewhat. You can see those tables don't have those heavy borders on every row anymore. Just in that little window there, or the preview screen. So they're going to improve the layout a little bit. The artwork's going to be brilliant. I love the cover of the hardbound book. And one of the cool things, if you are a collector, if you buy the softbound version, it is a print on demand. So it's not going to be a stitch binding. It'll just be a print on demand. But I mean, it's not a huge thick book. I think the new book is going to be a little bit thicker than this. So a print on demand is going to last you a little bit. But the print on demand cover is going to be done also by Errol Otis. So if you are a collector, that might be something you want to look at. And I actually think I'm going to have to go and pick up the thing at some point. I forgot to plug my thing in. Here, look at this while I go get my power adapter. Yay! Ha! I had it here and I forgot to plug it into the computer because I need to get this done and then go pick up my son. So impromptu live streams, they're always so much fun. A lot of good times. So if you're a collector, go out and get the print version, the on-demand version, and get that Errol Otis cover. Let's go back to here and look. You can see one of the reasons why I think this is worth picking up is if you just want the digital copy, it's $5. That's just for the core rulebook, but that's a really reasonable Kickstarter. 17 is a digital combination pack. You get everything. $25 is the print on demand. That includes the Errol Otis cover. And 28 more is Join the Adventures. I did the $35 or more, which is a traditionally printed physical book. That's what I did. And then if you get all of them, actually, I think I might have done this, the $60 for the print book and POD. So $60 for multiple versions of a Kickstarter, that's nothing. $5 for just the core book as a PDF, that's literally a no-brainer. Again, I think what they've done here with Swords and Wizardry, and what Matt Finch has done in creating, and if you've watched him, he's talked about creating licenses for this to make it an open content game. So they do have their own license for that. He's talked about the process of steering away from OGL, and he's done a really good work with this. He really wanted to do this well, and I think he's just done an excellent job. So that's kind of where I am. I wish I had my chat on again. Let me see if I can finally get this chat working. I don't think I'm going to be able to, and I really apologize. So if you have questions or anything, go back when the DVR comes up and the video is live on my channel. Please ask questions. I'll go look. I have to go make my thumbnail and stuff anyway. I'm a little annoyed that OBS did not ask me to turn that on. So that's going on. But that's really kind of where I am. A lot of fun. And for inexpensive, it's a great way to experience the original game and support a guy who's doing some good work inside the community, which is, I think that's always worth doing, even if you're just throwing them $5. So that's just kind of my recommendation for that. So what I have coming up is my review of Numenera is going to be coming out soon, probably sometime next week. I just did my Cipher System review, which I loved. I think the Cipher System, the system itself really shines in Numenera. That's what it was designed for. There's something about that game that has really gotten stuck in my head. I love it. So I'm looking forward to reviewing that with all of you. I do have a video that is done. It is ready to get uploaded and put on the site. It is for some beta features in Scabbard. I can't put that on until the beta features become live. And so I did that as a favor for the developer of Scabbard, and I want to honor him, make sure that I support that that platform as much as I can. And so that's one thing I'm waiting for the permission to just make that live. And it's going to be, it's some really cool stuff. I'm looking forward to it. So really, if you are looking forward for or looking for a campaign manager, look at Scabbard, especially with these new features that are going to be coming out soon. And when I did it did it as a favor. Wasn't getting anything, and he actually did give me an upgraded subscription for a year because of the video that I did. So that's full disclosure for that. But when I made it, I was a paying customer, and I will be in the future. Trust me. And so that's going on. If you want to help support the channel, you can go and buy cool shirts like this. Roll some dice. Worlds are waiting. And you can do that at my store. And I'll put that up there, where I got some cool designs, including this one here. One of my favorite is the Small Talk Failed Check, which is over here. I like these designs. It was a lot of fun to make them. And if you want to support the channel with it, all that sort of thing helps me to fund new things that I want to do. I did try my live stream if you watched that a few weeks ago, and it was hard because my computer just can't keep up with it. I'm not trying to raise enough funds to get a powerful enough laptop to do a streamer, like a multi-person stream through OBS. But I would like to be able to get an online streaming service, and supporting the channel with things like that. That's a big help, because that offsets the cost, and then I get to do more stuff, and that it puts me on the radar of more people who want to do things like interviews or send review copies, and it lets me back Kickstarters and help support the community. It's all fun. It all goes back into the channel. So if you're interested in want to wear a fun looking shirt, go ahead and support the channel. If you are interested in some written stuff, I do have a website, which is just dmtales.com. And I have a written background on managing my campaigns with Scabbard. I do try to link most of my videos on here. And I do on occasion. It's a lot of fun for me to write up narratives for the adventures that my parties have. And they had a really bad encounter with my basic fantasy campaign, had a really bad encounter with some owlbears during their first ever true hex crawl. They were lost out in the middle of the woods, and some owlbears were not happy with them, and they weren't happy with them. So if you want to go and look for some written content, I have that over there. I'm going to be trying to do more of that as we move on to the future. And also, buying things from the store, joining my Patreon, liking, subscribing here on the channel, all that helps to contribute to me supporting all the different elements of the channel a little bit better. So that's all that I have going on. And I am looking forward to coming up with Numenera, showing you what's coming up with Scabbard. And hopefully when this comes out in its print, I'll be doing a review of that very, very soon. So until we see each other again, folks, happy playing, everyone.